What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Realistic Career Mode. This is episode number 12. And we start today's episode off with a brand new season as our second year at Molineux gets underway today. As we know, this season we've got Europa League football for good. This time around we'll definitely be playing in the Europa League, and after last season finishing in 6th place, whilst it wasn't considered a Europa League spot, as 5th is the only position which actually counts towards an objective if you're given a Europa League place. We are playing Europa League football, and this year I want to win something as well. Last season we reached the semi-finals of the FA Cup before losing to Liverpool at Wembley. This year I'm targeting our first piece of silverware in the save, either the FA Cup or the Europa League. I don't think the Carabao Cup will care about at all this season because we'll have so many games to fit in by playing in Europe, but yeah, the FA Cup or the Europa League I'm targeting 1 to 2 this season. And as you have a squad heading into season 2 as well, we've got a squad of 36 players, nobody out on loan this season. I won't be loaning any of these players out. There's quite a lot of young players here that are decent, but not exactly ones to watch for the future. And I think heading into Season 2 as well, obviously transfers are the most exciting part of any start of a new season. You look at the team here and how it's set up. As we know, last season, Raul Jimenez and Renato Sanchez were our 2 players this season, closely followed by Rui Patricio and Connor Cody. I would say this year it's all about bringing in more quality in depth. We've got a ton of players with their deals up come the end of the year, most of which are those young players are referenced there who are okay, but nothing spectacular. And the 2 noteworthy players' deals come the end of the year are Joao Moutinho, 34 years old, who's retiring come the end of the season. This will be his final season for the club, and Rui Patricio, who I will give a new contract to. I'm going to put everyone else either on the transfer list or just have them playing their final season for the club. Although I might give Luke Mattison a new contract. He did okay last season, the young teenage right back, formerly of Rochdale. And you see our 3 objectives for the season as well. Finish in a Europa League spot in the Premier League, win the Europa League, and win the FA Cup as well. So I was targeting just 1 piece of silverware this year. The board want 2. They're greedy. They want the Europa League and the FA Cup as well. I don't think we'll be able to win both of them. It's going to be very hard indeed to fight across 3 different competitions this year to finish in a European spot in the Premier League and win a double as well. I'm targeting just 1 of those 2 trophies, and whilst the board might not be satisfied, I will be if we win one of the FA Cup or the Europa League. Preferably the Europa League though, because I want to qualify for the Champions League for next season via a top 4 finish or by winning that Europa League. Still, for the transfer budget this season, we've got around 65 to 70 million pounds to play with, so lots of cash to splash. And for my first signing of the window, well, I wasted no time whatsoever in bringing this guy back. Yes, Ryan Nori becomes our first signing on the first day of the transfer window as he returns to Wolves for, I think it was a £6 million deal, £6.5 million deal. And of course, last season he was the backup left back for Johnny, and I gave him quite a lot of game time as well, and he really impressed. He only grew to 73 overall, but I know he's got great potential. It says that in his tag, shows great potential, and for a youngster he's got room to grow, and he already impressed in season 1 with a low overall, so I had to bring him back, and he became our first sign of the window as our backup for Johnny. I also gave a new contract to Rui Patricio. I said I would. He signed a new 2-year extension. He might be 34 years old right now, but still one of the best goalkeepers in the Premier League after last season having a joint most amount of clean sheets all throughout the course of the campaign, alongside Edison and Lloris of Man City and Spurs. And you might notice as well, I have changed Paulo Gazzaniga's number from 1 to 13. Obviously last season, some of you guys said in the comments, could you take Gazzaniga's number off him? Because of course that was Carl Ikeem's number from Wolves. Of course the legendary goalkeeper Molineux, of course, was sadly diagnosed with cancer and had to retire because of that. The reason I didn't change Gaz's number last season is because obviously I'm doing this career mode realistically, and players don't change number during a season, so I left till the end of the season, but Gaz's number has now officially changed. Anyway, in terms of sales, you'd have seen there Aston Villa putting in 2 bids for our 2 centre-backs, Connor Cody and Dendoncker. As we know, Cody last season was a man mountain at the back, and Dendoncker as well was pretty impressive, the Belgian, sharing game time with Bolly and Ferro as well. Had no plans to sell either of them though, of course, because we had one of the best defensive records in the division last year. However, Rafa Silva, the young Spanish striker who was out on loan last year, I sold him to Freiburg for 6.4 mil. Since returning, he'd be 4th choice striker behind Jimenez, Cutrone and Fabio Silva as well. So I thought it was best to cash in on the Spaniard and get a little bit of money for him. But for a new signing on the winger role, now this is something I talked about last season. I thought Daniel Podence was not that effective in the left wing role last season. I wanted someone to come in and be part of our front 3 alongside Jimenez and Adama Traore as well. I had 5 names on the transfer shortlist, and I wasn't really sure which one to get. There was David Neres, there was Anthony, Antony. There was Everton Suarez as well, and Rafa was the player opted for in the end, and we signed the Portuguese midfielder for £36 million, which I thought was a really, really good deal, as the former Benfica man comes in as our first big signing of the window. I wasn't really sure which would be the most realistic. If I was just going to sign anyone I wanted, I would have bought in David Neres, but I wasn't sure Neres would be realistic, because he's got a lot of star power, David Neres, and I think they're probably more likely to be leaving Ajax for a Champions League club, whereas right now we're a Europa League club. And Rafa Silva had been linked to Wolves in the past couple of seasons, so I wasn't really sure which would be the most realistic out of the lot there, but I opted for Rafa Silva. Hopefully that is the most realistic choice out of the five. I thought it was personally. I thought about it quite a lot, and again, whilst Neres was the one I really wanted, I am trying to do his career mode primarily realistically, and I thought Rafa Silva was the most realistic out of the five due to the fact he's been linked in real life in past seasons. So Rafa Silva comes in, 36 million. He's absolutely rapid, really, really rapid, and I'm hopeful that he'll be an inside forward that is a much more reliable source of goals than Daniel Podence was last season, as we sold Campagna there, and Ryan Giles rejects his move to Benevento. So yeah, fingers crossed he'll be more effective than Podence was last year. Traore obviously had a very large amount of assists last season, so it was pretty decent on the right hand side. Podence only chipped in with like 3 or 4 goals though, so yeah, Rafa this year I'm hoping will get at least 7 or 8 this year alongside Jimenez and Traore up top, with Podence dropping to the bench. But just as we were coming towards the first game of the season, I received a very interesting bid here from Lazio, wanting to take Patrick Cutrone back to his native Italy. I agreed a £17 million deal with the lads from Rome, and as you can see, Cutrone has gone for £17 million, and that was a really interesting sale as well. As a bid came in for Neves, but sadly I deleted the footage. I rejected this bid from Barcelona here. But yeah, Cutrone going to Lazio. Obviously, you know, he hasn't really settled here in the Premier League. He was loaned out to Fiorentina. We recalled him last season, but I didn't give him much game time. To be honest, I preferred Fabio Silva, even though he's 6 ratings lower than Cutrone. I preferred going with Fabio Silva as my second choice striker. So I thought it was best to have a clean break from Cutrone permanently. He goes back to Italy on his way to Lazio for £17 million, and as a backup striker to replace him, I only had one target in mind as the guy to deputise for Raul Jimenez. Andre Silva, right now playing for Frankfurt, obviously didn't do very well whilst at AC Milan, but since his loan spell at Sevilla, he then went to Frankfurt on loan. Now he's joined them permanently. He's got a very good goal-to-game ratio in the Bundesliga. He's a full Portuguese international. As we know, Wolves like to sign their Portuguese players, so I thought this is quite realistic. Andre Silva definitely is my long-term successor for Raul Jimenez. The Mexican now is 30 years old. He won't be on top of his game forever. We'll need someone to step in his prime and be ready to replace him when that happens in a year or two. So Andre Silva to me made absolutely perfect sense. He arrives on a £32.5 million deal, 4-year contract, 70 grand a week, and already can step in and provide competition for the Mexican, and also give the Mexican a breather as well, because last year Raul Jimenez was ever present because he needed to be. He started practically every single game for us. He started every game in the Premier League and the majority of our FA Cup games as well, just because again I didn't really have much faith in Patrick Cutrone, and Fabio Silva was still quite lowly rated. So now we're playing in the Europa League this year. I talked about the need to improve our squad in terms of quality and depth. That was the main reason behind the Patrick Cutrone sale and the Andre Silva signing. I've not got enough faith in the Italian to replace Raul Jimenez, but as for Silva, I know for sure that in those Europa League midweek games on Thursday night, the FA Cup games coming thick and fast as well, after the Premier League games too, I really felt as though Andre Silva would be a much more reliable man to step in and sort of carry the load with Raul Jimenez, because as we know, last season when Raul Jimenez didn't score, we didn't win. It was as simple as that. So that's the reason behind the Cutrone sale and the Silva sign, which again I thought was quite realistic as well. But still, we are done for transfers before the first game of the season, not before the window slams shut. That will become the end of the month, and it's still around 18 to 20 million in the budget as well, with wage budget alterations. Still more money to work with as well before the transfer window slams shut. But for the first game of the season, we will be taking on Southampton at Molineux, aiming to get off to a winning start. Last year, of course, drew on the opening day to newly promoted Leeds away at Ellen Road. And last season, a lot of the games at times were quite uneventful, but hopefully in the first 10 minutes of this game, we could see a sign of things to come this season. Both both goalkeepers tested early. First Patricio making a great save on a one-on-one, and then from that, throwing out from the back, we had a golden chance to get Rafa his first goal for the club just 9 minutes in. Fabulous save by Consigli, and then he also denied Ruben Neves just moments later as well. It was a great double save there, kept the Saints still level at 0-0. So both goalkeepers getting tested early as it was still goalless. 25 minutes in, once again, Rafa is through, and once again I spurred the chance to get him a goal on his debut. Looking lively inside the first half an hour, that's what you want to see, but again it was Consigli making another really good save as it was still goalless. But 33 minutes in, I knew the goal was going to come at some point for one of us, and in the end it was us, and in the end, no surprises, it was Raul Jimenez who gets our first goal this season, just like he did last year as well. Adama Traore had more assists than anyone else in our team last year, so it's no surprise that he got the first assist of this season as well, as Wolves go a goal up right before the break, and in the second half, still leading by 1, going for that second goal, 20 minutes to go. Raul Jimenez gets his second of the campaign after last year just missing out on the golden boot to Mo Salah, finishing narrowly behind him in second place. This year, he wants that golden boot. Lovely through ball by Ruben Neves, and the Mexican would have finished, doubles our lead, and surely ensures we'll be getting 3 points on the opening day of the season. The Saints would grab themselves a consolation goal with 5 minutes to go. Hinterregger heading in a corner, so no clean sheet on the opening day for Rui Patricio, but Jimenez's double does mean, oh, is it Maximovic? Oh, it's Hinterregger. Maximovic, sorry, got the consolation goal, but Jimenez's double does mean we start the campaign off with a win, and this season with very strong objectives from the board, winning both a cup and a Europa League as well. I want to finish in the top 4. It's going to be hard to do that, but if we can get off to a good start, unlike last season, we give ourselves every chance. But that will end today's episode of the Realistic Career Mode, guys. So big thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed the season open, if you have, then please do drop a like. Much love to you all. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you for the next episode of the Realistic Career Mode very soon.